All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. So, if you're receiving this, if you got the email from me today, you are either a member of our Blues Academy or a friend of mine or somebody who has supported iMusicAcademy in the past. So, thank you for joining us today. I wanted to give everybody a look from the inside of what it's like, what we do at the Blues Academy. And we go live every Monday and every Thursday, and things are getting really exciting. So, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about shapes, the importance of shapes. I was just playing some shapes, and we're going to talk about the theory of shapes. We're going to go through the 20 minutes, the 20 tips for a 5-minute practice success, which is one of my favorite things to do because these simple, really simple concepts, and you have the choice to do whichever one you want to do, you can get a whole lot done if you simply focus on specific small amounts of material. So that's part of today's lesson. I also have of course, repetition is your friend. We're going to talk about that today. Backing tracks. We have a whole list of backing tracks that are coming, all keys. And I think I'm going to throw up G today. I said I was going to do all of them at the same time. All the backing tracks are done, but we're going to go ahead and just do one at a time, and I'll do G. So we're going to talk about G blues because I have one chord to add to that. And then we're going to talk about specifically shapes 1, 2, and 3. Hey, Hugh. Hugh is a member of our Blues Academy. And so, guys, I'm not monetizing this live stream. I will go ahead and monetize it after. But I wanted to just give, again, everybody a tour of what we do here. And I would love it if you guys interact in the chat. And I just wanted to encourage all of you. Let's practice together. Let's get a lot done. All right, so we go for an hour on Thursday, and you can drop in, drop out, whatever you need to do. But one of the first things I like to do is get shape 1 going. Shape 1 is just the first 5 notes of the blues scale, and a backing track is great to. You can always use the backing track, and for this specific stream, you have the backing track link down there, and all you do is you have a bass and drums backing track. You get 2 clicks on this one, and we're in. We're just warming up. So 2 clicks. Hey, Vicky. At first, I like to do automatic pilot, just up and down. And I'm going to put that with my left hand chords, which are C, F, and G. And I'm doing a C9 right now. You guys know this. And then G. And then F. Just building the coordination up. And then it starts over one more time. Now here we're working all of the fingers. I'll go to chords now. All right, so let me just stop this really quickly. All right, let's talk about why in the world would I even be doing this in this shape? It's very simple. There are 12 keys, and if we learn the 5 notes of any blues scale, or sorry, for each key, we have material to play the blues and to sound great. If we were playing a simple blues or a jazz blues, it's going to sound great. And I'll give you context is, let's somebody yell out another key. Vicky, you, or Hugh. Just yell out a key, and in the meantime, I'm going to show you guys what we've been doing at iMusicAcademy, even on YouTube. As I say, take this shape 1, get familiar with the shape, so each finger is hovering over one of those notes. And yes, you can mash it all down, it's going to sound horrible. But what you're doing is you're building up muscle memory, so I don't even have to think about it. And I can put my hand on the keys, and each note is just automatically hovering over one of those notes. And that is because we're putting in some repetition on the simple things. So Vicky says the key of F. So because I have practiced my shapes and we have practiced our shapes, F will be pretty easy because we can mash all of our fingers together. All I did is have to put my hand on F, and it's going to naturally fit over all of those notes. And the reason these shapes are helpful is because you are building up serious muscle memory when you do that. Now, we do automatic pilot in the key of C. But if I want to turn the bass, turn the ideas around, now we have unlimited material, and we actually have, in the Blues Academy, you guys know we have our beginning blues sheet, which turns it around in so many ways. In fact, I was just doing that just a minute ago. And let's demonstrate this for my beginners. We're just going to go up and down, and then we're going to vary it up a little bit. So here we go. If I go This is just the first 5 notes. Up and down are going to work great. I'll just go up first. Now down. Maybe repeat that. Now up and down. Now I'm going to leave a little more space. Now how about now down. And just stop on the top. Here we go. How about this one? How about that? Okay, let me stop that just for a second. Now, if you're hearing a slight delay on your end, it's just because there's a backing track on YouTube, and on my end, from what I hear on my ears, everything lines up. But just know there might be a slight delay on the piano versus the backing track. Okay, let's keep going. So Vicky said again, F. I would do the same exact thing. I learned this specific shape, and now I can play the F blues with that same shape. So it doesn't matter the key that somebody calls out, because we put in a little work to learn the basics. Okay, that's one of the basic principles that I like to teach, is shape 1. Shape 2 is actually the top half of the blues scale. And all you're doing is, a C blues scale is 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, and 1. The fingering is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and you can go 3, 4, or 2, 3, whatever's more comfortable for you. Sometimes I'll play both of those fingerings, because sometimes I might want to use 2, 3 here because of the second shape. The second shape is the top half of the blues scale. So if you think about, this is the bottom half, this is the top half, and all of those notes are going to work over any chord you're on. And I'll demonstrate that in just a minute. So I can go da 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 da. This is a triplet rhythm, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and, or I could just go. Notice how every note works. So let me just demonstrate how that one pattern works up here at the top. And another thing before I start it is, how do you get to that specific pattern? If you take your middle finger and you put it on whatever key we're in, that's the way you're going to find this top half of the blues scale. So over in the key of C, my middle finger goes there. My thumb is naturally hovering over the 5th. My index finger is hovering over the flat 7, which is part of this shape. And then on top, we have the minor 3rd. So there it is right there. And so if Vicky said the key of F, I'm going to put my middle finger on F. And now notice that my thumb is naturally hanging over the 5th. My index finger is already hanging over the flat 7. And my fourth finger is, my ring finger is hovering over the minor 3rd. So you have that, and now I have that shape. So it does not matter any key you decide. If somebody's playing the blues in the key of B, right, and there's your bass line, if I go middle finger on B, my pinky is naturally hovering over that note, and then so you have the same shape. Your hand's going to naturally want to get into that shape too. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the key of C, and I'm either going to do shape 1 or the top half of the blues scale. So 2 clicks and we're in. Here we go. So just hanging out in shape 2. Now what I like about shape 2 is that it puts the top half of the blues scale, obviously, but you have the minor 3rd on top. So you have this nice little tension, da 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 da, which you hear in the blues all the time. Da 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 da. That minor 3rd gets you a really fun tension that is really useful, and it's something that we need in the blues. We need that minor third. So I can transition between the top half, the top shape, and the bottom shape, and I'm thinking about my F sharp getting, my fourth finger getting to F sharp. That's what I call my transition fingering. If I can visualize, all right, this is the top half, and I'm visualizing this shape right here, and I'm visualizing this shape, and I think of my fourth finger being an important transition fingering to get all the way down the keyboard. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And another thing to look at the fourth finger on F sharp is that I know that that's a go-to. If I go there, I'm automatically going to be hovering over the first shape of the blues, and those 4 notes are going to sound fantastic. Okay, let me do 2 clicks again, and we're in. So we have, I missed it. Do it again. 2. Now top half of blues. Now transition. Let's do that again. So if I did, okay, so once you get that visual down, that you have the top half of the blues scale and then you have the bottom half, and just remember that your F sharp is just a great way to transition between those two. And then we'll talk about shape 3. Shape 3 is very simple. It just goes down from C, down 3 half steps, and now you're on the first 4 notes of the A blues scale. And this is just like the first 4 notes of the C blues scale, but now we're doing this on A. And what this does, it gives us the important note of the A note in the blues. A note is the A note, the 6th note of the C scale, is a really nice bluesy sound for the blues, for the C blues. And then it goes up to the minor third, and you can just go back and all of those notes are going to work. Let me demonstrate that. So 2 clicks and we're in. Even over F. Okay, does everybody understand that so far? That's just the very basics that we're doing today. And now we're about to take it up a level. Let me take a sip of coffee. We're redoing the stream and things are going really well. I'm very excited about everything. Not just the stream, the room, and all of the gear. We have new gear that has been coming in, so we're trying to level up everything, which I'm excited about. Okay, now let's talk about rhythm in the left hand. So these 3 chords we've been working on, E, B flat, and D. That's the 3, the flat 7, and the 9 of the C scale. Going down to the F13, the flat 7, 3, and 13. And you guys know at iMusicAcademy, whenever you're spelling out chords, you have to think of that key signature, and that's why we learn all of our major key signatures. So if I'm spelling a C chord and I need the formula 3, flat 7, 9 of a C major scale, I have that, no problem. If I'm spelling an F13, I have to think of F major, which has 1 flat, B flat, and I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So now my formula is flat 7, 3, 13. And then the only other chord is G13 that we're using, and that's flat 7 of a G scale. Normally G has an F sharp, and we have flat 7, 3, and 13. So we're good there. So I just started teaching a student who is actually trying out for a really awesome specialized high school, and she's a great piano player and had not been working on jazz. And just within the last couple of weeks, let's say the last month, I've had maybe 3 lessons with her now, and she is flying through all of this stuff. She went from like 0 blues or jazz improv to really doing amazing. And part of the reason is we're doing some very simple concepts like this. We're learning how to do simple shapes and things. But also, when it comes to rhythm, you can take anything and play it slow and straight and really lock things up. What's up, J-Man? J-Man is a member. Which, by the way, here's a really important plug that I'll just say. I'm going to leave this video up. I'll put this video up on YouTube after. But just know that there is a link to, it says, yes, I want to become a member. And what you're seeing now is people who are jumping in who are members of the Academy. And my hope is that you will risk it after you've spent some time in here. And just know that I don't just, like, we go consistently live twice a week. And we go through all these kinds of concepts, and literally every course. We have people that buy my courses and all that. I like that. I love the fact that you support my channel by buying courses and everything. Go to iMusicAcademy.com and you'll see courses. But if you're a member, you get access to all that, including the online platform and the practice stream folder, which has all your PDFs, everything you'll ever need. And my hope is that I'm really wanting people who just want to not only be a part of a community, but learn together, we grow together, and we have fun together. And I promise you will feel good about joining. And but make sure it's right for you. That's what this stream is about. It's literally like one investment a month for a lesson with me, and you get everything. And that's all I'll say about that for now. But there is a link for anybody who would like to join us. Okay, so this thing with this girl is we said we can practice anything slow and straight. So listen to this. If I played the first 5 notes of the blues scale, which are shape 1, and I do the left-hand voice saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Notice that the and of 2 gets the F sharp. 1 and 2 and now I'm going to play it not from a jazz or a bluesy kind of feel. I'm just going straight and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and, or I could do short. 1 and 2 and 3 and watch when I go to F, same thing. 1 and 2 and my F sharp gets the chord hit. Now let's put that together with the track, and you're going to hear how this works. 1, 2, 1. 1 and 2, F sharp. Same thing. If you understand what we're doing here, put got it in the chat. I'm on automatic pilot, but I'm really thinking about the and of 2 in my left hand. And left hand practice is also good. So left hand only go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and done. I mean, imagine how good it feels. Let's say you're a beginner and you say, my left hand is terrible, I can't do it. Imagine what you can do if you spend a little time just thinking like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And we're just doing one rhythm. There are so many you can do, but we're going to take it very slowly, very simple, and try to get this rhythm going. Now let's say that you are having trouble even still. You're a beginner and you want to make sure that you're just not getting it. Well, let's go slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So this week at iMusicAcademy, one of the things we've been doing is working on the and of 2. So we practice things slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay. So let's say that I get the and of 2 going, and now we're about to go through this PDF in detail. But before I do that, I'm going to go over 3 simple concepts. I'm either going to do shape 1, I'm going to do the top half of the blues, shape 2, or the A blues scale, the first 4 notes, and then I'll add one more thing of the transition of the blues scale. Now we're not even at the minor third to major third yet, so just know that the major third is coming. We want to play the blues, we want to play the flat third, but occasionally we need that major third, and that's coming in just a minute. But let's practice, focus practice on left hand of the and of 2, and right hand shape. We'll mix that up in lots of different ways, or we're going to play the top half of the blues scale or the transition. And remember, your F sharp gets that transition. If you don't know where you are and you're thinking, where am I supposed to go now? Getting that F sharp, that fourth finger on the F sharp will settle in nicely to all of your blues shape notes from the first shape. Here we go. 2 clicks and we're in. 1, 2. And I'm just practicing that 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Automatic pilot. All right, now let's mix it up a little bit. How about this? Let's do the top half of the blues scale. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, let's talk about the major third. So what's nice about the major third is that you have this minor third bluesy sound. And remember, all you have to do is put your middle finger on C, and it naturally sets you up for a shape 2. But occasionally we want to hear this nice little major third. It gives us tension and release. Ba-da. If I just did minor third all the time, it's going to sound good, but it's going to get boring really quickly. So what we're going to do is add the major third. So if I go through the PDF, let me pull up the PDF here. Make sure I'm showing you guys exactly what I want you to practice here. And I scroll down here. You're going to see a bunch of things. And let's just actually start going through and dealing with each little concept. So the first thing is so simple, is that you have the first 5 notes of the major scale, and this is really important jazz thing to learn. You learn your major scales, but then you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are so many patterns and things you can keep under the hand. And what I mean by that is, notice that my hand naturally wants to stay in a shape 1. So as I play the first 5 notes of the major scale, my hand is over each note that I need. And then a jazzy, very simple jazzy idea is ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that will even be a little bit different for some of you. The idea of going up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1. So I went up the scale, and then I went down to my middle finger, and I went up and then down the C arpeggio. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-bum. Really important scale. I could actually use that even in my improv. Right? Even on F. And back to C. Even on G. Now I'm thinking G first 5 notes. So everything fitting under the hand over each one of those chords. All right, now let me give you a very simple tip that goes right along with this. If I'm on the key of C, my first chord, and instead of playing this, ba-da-da-da-da, I started on G. So the 5th note away from C is G, and I played the minor, not the major, but I did the minor. Now, if I'm on whatever chord I'm on, this is kind of a beginner, but yet a little bit of an advanced concept. So hang in there. Hugh, Vicky, and J-Man. if I'm on the C chord and I go up 5 notes, now I'm on the G chord, or the G notes, and I'm going to do minor, G minor, first 5 notes. That gives me the 5th of C, the 6th, the flat 7, so there's my little bluesy kind of sound. So anytime I'm improvising and I need a simple 5-note pattern, I can do from C, I can go up and play the G minor. Let's just listen to how that sounds. On F. So let's talk about what if I was on the F chord and I go up, what's 5 notes away from F? Now you're at C and do the minor. That gives me that flat 7 of F. Okay, so we're just getting some very simple concepts. So for C, I'm going to go up 5 notes from C, C, D, E, F, G, and play the minor. And that gives me that flat 7 and even the 9th on top. And then when I go to F, that gives me the flat 7 and the 9th of G on top. Let's do that. Let's just hear how those notes sound. Now F, same thing. And back to C. There's your major third. Blues scale. Okay, so you get the idea. As you learn this, that's just one major scale pattern. And that's why 20 tips for 5-minute practice success. This is one concept out of 20, right? This is not just, you have the C major, the first 5 notes, and then you have this where you turn it around. Then you do it minor. And then you have the blues scale, which is shape 1. So important there. And then you have the C minor pentatonic. Now let's talk about that for a minute. This idea of what's the difference in the first 5 notes of the C blues scale versus the pentatonic is that you don't include the F sharp. You have just C, E flat, F, and G. And then you could even invert that where you do the same thing. And you could do it up here. Same thing. That's sort of for a different later discussion, but the main thing is you can really have some nice melodies by using the pentatonic scale. In fact, at iMusicAcademy, you guys know that we create every person who's a member gets their own blues tune, and we have a family songbook and all kinds of things. And Dave's leaving on a plane. One of our members one time was on a plane on the tarmac. He was paying attention to the live stream, and so we came up with Dave's Leaving on a Plane, all pentatonic. Dave's leaving on a plane, it's so much faster than the train. They try to tell him it's the same, but it's so much slower on the train. I tried my best to explain, Dave's leaving on a plane. So the whole thing is pentatonic, and it came out as one of our songs. So 1, Dave's leaving on a plane. It's so much da 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 da. And 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm staying in that mode. And 2 and 3 and 4. The Dave's leaving on a plane. One more time. Dave's leaving on a plane. It's so much faster than the train. Now blues. All right, let's stop that for a second. Let's keep going down this PDF. To sum up the very first part of the 20 tips for 5-minute practice success is that you pick one idea and then you really own it. And let me just demonstrate this really quickly. If I was going to go around and really get a lot out of this first one, let's say I only had 5 minutes to practice. I'm going to go, and then maybe do the second one. Then I'm going to go up to F, and then maybe B flat. But I'm not just going to go through the keys. I'm going to be very mindful. I can even put it with my chord. And now on F, I go minor. Okay? So even within this first little section, you have the blues scale, the first 5 notes, which I want to encourage you guys to get in all keys, right? If you have that one shape in all keys, then if you go over to your friend's house, you show up at a place, a jam session, whatever, and they're like, E blues, and you're like, oh man, E blues? E blues? You want me to play E blues? All you do is get into this shape, and then all of those notes are going to work. Or you show up at a guitar player's playing, oh, B blues, B blues, B blues, you want me to play in B blues? All right, all you do is B, D, E, F. And then there's your F sharp. B blues has one sharp, and it's F sharp. So you learn these shapes, even these 3 shapes, and somebody says play B blues. Okay, so now you're playing B blues and you're sounding great. Now let's talk about one other concept, because you guys are so awesome and advanced. We've been working on the idea of the up-down method. What in the world is the up-down method? Here's your quick crash course. Let's say you're in this key of C. Your formula is 3 flat 7 9. We've been doing face your fears. So sometimes our fear is, oh no, we're about to play B blues or C sharp blues. And how are you going to get over these fears? Well, the up-down method starts with something we're familiar with. So the first 5 notes of the C blues scale, and you already know the voicings. Let's say I go up to D flat, and I do the same voicing. So yes, I need to know the D flat major scale, but then I have to know the formula, 3 flat 7 9, and the first 5 notes of the D flat blues scale. So I work on that, I get up into the keys, and then if I'm having trouble or if I want to reinforce the sound, I go back to C. There's my 5 notes, there's my formula, 3 flat 7 9. So this is the regular key, the more comfortable key, and now I'm going to go up a half step, and there it is right there. Now I'm going to go back. Now here's the down part of this, is that I go down 3 flat 7 9 of a B scale, and they're the first 5 notes of the B blues scale. And notice that as I get to that F sharp, I'm kind of moving up into the keys. Really important. So we have this. Let's go back to C. So we're taking very simple concepts in the same way I might go. What about D flat? Okay. Okay, that sounds good. I'm up into the keys. What about B? So on that specific example, I have to go boo-ba-da-da-da, then middle finger up to the top and come down the arpeggio. That's the trick there. All right, now let's move along. We're doing great. We still have so much more to cover, and we have about 20, let's see, how many minutes do we have? About 22 minutes, 23 minutes left. Hang in there, everybody. You're doing great. We have 8 people watching, so I ask you to do a couple of things. Is if you want to say hey in the chat, even if you're not a member or anything, well, I would love to hear from you. And the same thing, I love your comments that you leave. You guys have been very active on YouTube. And again, if you're watching this, just know that you're an important part of me. You're a good friend to me, and just thankful that you guys are tuning in. I just want you guys to practice. All right, so here's the next thing. Let's go down this list. So page 2 has the most familiar lick at iMusicAcademy, right? This is like number 1. This is important because you either have 2 fingerings. You either have the slide key, you're sliding off that minor third to major third, which we've just addressed. Yes, if I'm playing the C blues scale And I play that over and over, and I'm not playing that major third. Occasionally, I want to hear that note. I want to hear the tension and release. This is a great lick to get under your fingers because it's kind of old school. At the same time, it works in blues and in jazz. People love it. You start doing this little kind of riff, right? Even if you did a simple blues, people love that kind of sound. And also, it works your fingers, really works your fingers. So if I did the up-down method in this approach, here's C, and then I go up to D flat. And now what do I have to do? I have to hammer on the 2 to 3, the minor third to major third of D flat. So this is where I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to go back to something familiar, my comfort key, and now down a half step. So now I have to get this in the key of B. Now, this is not a teaching video of how to play this in the key of B. It takes a little bit more time to go through how we do this. And one of the ways that we do this is we say, okay, we know the key of B, right? We know the major scale. Now the formula is, notice that I'm hammering on the triad, minor third to major third, and then I'm visualizing, thinking about what is the 4 chord in the B blues. Well, I count up the scale, B, C sharp, D, E, the 4 chord. And now that is my second inversion triad. So E, G, and B, E, and G sharp. So now I go root, minor third to major, E, which is the 4 chord of the B blues, and then I played the B7 on top without the third. Now let me put it in context in the key of C, something that's easier to visualize. If I said, all right, minor third to major third, there's the triad. What's the 4 chord in the key of C? Well, you count up the scale, C, D, E, F. Here's your 4 chord and second inversion. So I'm visualizing as I play C, and I could play the quarter note bass line if I want to. I go, and I'm visualizing, so C triad, minor third to major third, then I go second inversion, triad, and then I go C7 without the third. Okay, now let's talk about something really quickly. This is not a segue into anything different, but I want to remind you, as we're going through these tips, this is our hour-long thing that we do every Thursday, but you pick specific concepts. If I'm practicing for 20 minutes, maybe this is, or I have 10 minutes to practice. Maybe this is the only one I do, and I spend 10 minutes or 5 minutes going through one idea, because this same shape works on F in the C blues. And then maybe I go to G now, F, okay, now we talk about focus practice. At iMusicAcademy, you guys know I have the baseline course, which is all 10 of those bass lines. I think we're up to 27 bass lines. But for the course, I did 10 different bass lines to play over one idea. So this idea right here has this bass line. It has the 8th note bass line. It has the sort of Latin, sort of beachy kind of vibe. But even this one lick, I can go up. I can start at the top and come down. I could go halfway up. Scale. All right, you guys get the idea. So even though I'm showing you guys a lot of different concepts right now, I'm just showing you the types of things we practice and that we really focus in on specific goals and examples. This week we had a practice stream folder, and it had the blues shapes course. It also had some gospel tips. And you guys know, even on YouTube, I think I maybe did an example of the gospel idea. There's so many fun things you can do. Is that, like, if I'm in the key of C and I play a C triad in second version, which is my favorite triad. I can think C triad, and then I think the second note of the C scale is D minor, and I go D minor, and then I go C chord, D minor. So all I'm alternating is 2 triads. Ba da 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 da. Even if I go to the F chord. So imagine if you had this concept in all keys. Those kinds of tips work over blues, jazz, pop, you name it. So that's really fun. We've been focusing on that. All right, let's keep going down this PDF. We have about 17 minutes left in this stream. If you are enjoying this, make sure you like this video, leave a comment. I will throw this up on YouTube for you guys to go back and do it. And if you're interested in being a member, I promise you that even the people, I hope the people in this chat would also agree that we have a great time. It's a very encouraging membership, and it doesn't matter if you're an absolute beginner or a pro. I think you'll get a lot out of it, and it doesn't matter if you're a teenager who is a jazz prodigy or if you're retired and you're 95 or 105. We would love to have you. We have people all different ages and stages in your journey, and I absolutely love it. So we have a really awesome community, and everybody is supportive. Okay, so here we go. Let's keep going. We have a few minutes left. We're going to knock this out. Okay, so if I'm looking at this one, the measure 20, we talk about the flat 7, the importance of the flat 7. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. If I'm trying to play the blues and I'm not really feeling that bluesy, I'll go to that flat 7. So C7, and I go ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dee-da-da-da-da-da. Now, from a transposition standpoint, imagine if you start learning different scales and you say, all right, F major, I know that now, and now I'm going to go do this thing where I go to the flat 7. How do you find the flat 7 of any scale? You just go down a whole step. That gives you a flat 7, so I go ba-da-da-da-da-da. So I can play the whole blues by just practicing that one scale. 2 clicks and we're in. 1, 2. Now on F, same thing. G, same thing. Okay, so finding that, getting the sound of that flat 7 is really, really nice. Maybe that's the thing you want to do today. The next thing down, and I love this one, it says jazzy C lick for C major or for C7. You hear this all the time. There's actually a famous song, Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me, and it's such a neat, iconic idea pattern. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. And what it's doing is what is called an enclosure. If you have a specific note, in this case the third, and I go ba ba da 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 ba da da ba da, I'm surrounding the note, which is called my target note. Ba ba da. So we go ba ba da 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 da. That's if you played the whole lick that's written here. And you'll see on all my PDFs is I always try to put the fingerings in. I think it's really important to do that. And you can always play whatever fingering you want, but I do have a classical background as well, and I think fingering has always been important to me. But sometimes I'll get people that'll play stuff a lot better than I can play it with different fingering, so I can work with you there. Okay, so let's talk about transposition. Just this idea of starting on the 4th note and then the 2nd, and notice that when I go, I'm surrounding the C triad. So if I was in the key of G and I start on the 4th note, notice how easy that transposition was. I go up to the 4th note of this G scale, and I'm surrounding that triad. So it doesn't matter what key I'm in, I'm going to get to that triad. I'm visualizing that. Okay, so let's keep moving down the list. This is a really fun pattern. It's a really generic bluesy kind of pattern, and it might sound hard to some people, but it's actually really easy. All I'm doing is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play it really slowly. often all of these come down to, am I using the correct fingering? And I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples in just a minute. Use the right fingering, you can do anything, and you learn how to play things slow and straight. Okay, maybe I had 10 minutes and I'm going to play the C6 lick. Let's talk about this one. This is great because whatever major scale you're in is starting on the root. In this case, there are lots of different rhythms you could use, but let's start on 1 and 2 and then 3 and. So we're playing the minor third to major third, so we're satisfying that tension release, and then we go 5th note, 6th note, and our octave. We're also getting the space of the octave, which is really important. In fact, I always encourage people to play your octave, sometimes your scales or your blues scale, where you're just playing the octave, that spacing, so you get that under your fingers. And you will get better at it. And you will build up the same muscle memory that we're building as we do the first 5 notes of the blues scale. All right, now, if I'm playing this specific lick and I do this 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 and... If I go up to D flat, that fingering is not going to work because I have to hammer on the minor third to major third, and then I'm going to use 4, 5, and open up my hand and play the octave. So to play this specific lick in all keys, you either have to do a hammer-on fingering or a slide key. And if you understand that, put "got it" in the chat. You have this slide key on D flat. I'm up into the keys. And on B major, let's go down a half step. I'm hammering on that minor third to major third, 5th, 6th, and then there's my octave. So if you use one of these 2 fingerings, you can play this idea in all keys. Okay, awesome. J-Man has it. I know Vicky has it, and Hugh has it. Okay, so let's talk about the left hand. Right now we're playing our rootless voicings, so we're playing sort of jazzy type voicings even over a simple blues. And what does that mean, rootless voicing? That means the bass player's down here playing his thing, whatever it is. And while we're playing these voicings, they don't have the root, so the bass player's nailing that C, and then when he goes to F, he's nailing that F. He's kind of doing his thing, and we're doing our voicings that live in this area. Our left-hand voicings that are called rootless voicings, you're usually playing them in this area right here of the piano. Too low, and it gets too muddy. Too high, it gets in the way of our right hand, it sounds too thin. So just know from a comping perspective, meaning the chords that you play with your left hand, you're comping, you're doing rhythms. What I've always known that is when you're comping, you're complementing the soloist, which is this, you're the soloist. So I'm playing these ideas. 1 and 2 and 3. I'm doing some rhythms. The bass players, boom, doo, da, da, da. You get the idea. Okay. The reason I bring that up is notice that these examples have the quarter note bass line built in. So sometimes you want to practice with your left hand, but maybe your idea for today is you're going to go, okay, here's the C6 lick that he said he wants me to do, and in my left hand I'm going to do 1 and 2 and then. Okay, where did that lock up? And 2 and then. Okay, my A note. So now that was on the D, so my 4th finger gets the and of 2. 1 and 2 and then. But maybe I want to do the quarter note bass line down here. Now I'm in the key of B. I want to make sure I get root 5th to root 6th. Maybe I want to do that Latin beat, not Latin, the beachy theme, or a 2nd line groove. So even right then, spur of the moment, you'll notice that something you practiced already will remind you of something else that you want to do to change it a little bit. What I did is I was playing this idea, but I heard this, ba-da-da-da-ba, which is what we just practiced of coming down the flat 7. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. So I could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... How about this? Even in a jazzy context, I could go, or a bluesy context, I could go ba-bo-do-do-da-da-da-da. All right, let's keep going. We have a few more minutes. We have 6 more minutes. Let's knock this out. Okay, so we've done at iMusicAcademy the Ray Charles. You guys know we've done so many boot camps on Ray Charles and all the awesome, amazing licks and patterns and things. So when we did this, what I'd say, and you had this idea of, so we've done that in the original key and all kinds of keys when we're doing these ideas, but we also bring them into our familiar keys. So if you go to this page, it has the Ray Charles lick starting on the 5th, and that's a whole lesson in itself, the way we've learned how to slide our 2nd finger for that minor third to major third. What I tell everyone is when I started learning about blues and jazz and I had a classical background, the idea of sliding my 2nd finger to my 2nd finger was really foreign. And even this idea of sliding my 3rd finger down to slide was really foreign to me. And I was used to doing things like this, or I would want to do 4-3, 4-3, da 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 da. So, which doesn't give you this sound. So what I had to learn is what I call a down home fingering. So it's like a fingering that may not seem like it's something you might learn in the formal training, but it's the way to do it. It's 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, 3, right? And so even though we're using a different bass line, we're not using that. We're going to use. So we're taking something from Ray Charles, this kind of lick, and we're getting the style down, and then we can use that and make it our own. So we go. So let's talk about this. So you have the Ray Charles idea that starts on the 5th, but you can also take the Ray Charles same kind of concepts and go minor third to major third. Same exact thing, but instead of starting on the 5th, I'm starting on the 3rd. I love that sound. So here we are, and you practice that, sliding that 3rd finger, flat 3rd, down. When I go to F, I'll do minor 3rd to major 3rd. Go back to C. Minor 3rd to major 3rd on G. Blues scale. Okay, now let's go down here. And as we start to wind this up, we have 3 minutes left. You have this idea of this jazzy bass line right here. And I'm just doing D minor 9, walking up to G13. And a couple things are happening. One is walking up the scale, which is really important. It's a Bill Evans type, really jazzy voicing here at measure 45. and you have a D minor 9 to a G13, and all you have to do is lower your middle finger down. Maybe your idea for the day is just to practice that. You have 5 minutes, you practice this concept, because we're building up some muscle memory to go up the scale, walk up the bass line and quarter notes, but also then it gets to the 5 chord, so the G chord goes down the octave, and then it comes up to the 5th, and then the octave again. A really important skill set is to be able to get the root and the 5th of whatever chord you're going on. So in order to play something like this in different keys, you're either going to give me this fingering, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, or when you go up a half step, you go 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. And I did a video on YouTube, I think yesterday, that goes through how to play this in all keys. I'm not going to reteach this video, but just know that there's a video out there that I just put there. And I'll say this again, repetition is your friend, and if you learn how to play specific fingerings, you're usually 2 fingerings away from being able to play something in all keys. So right here, and I do this, and I go up a half step. First fingering, second fingering, first fingering, second, first, second, first, second, and guess what? Then we start over. Isn't that cool? Isn't it cool that you can do that? And also, you're just getting started, because then you say this idea. Anyway, and then the very last one is this. It's a beautiful day in your neighborhood, a beautiful day. Do 1, 6, 2, 5. That's a really important thing. Actually, I'm not going to, if I did this beautiful C9 voicing, let me use the pedal and I go, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Oh, down, 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 down. There's so many beautiful things you can do by learning these simple, nice, jazzy chords. All right, now let's just wrap things up here. It is 9:01. It's about that time. We've gone on for a long time. I'm going to put this up on YouTube publicly. And for our members, thank you so much for hanging out today. It's always good to see you, Vicky, for J-Man and Hugh, always checking in. Peter couldn't be here today because of his work schedule, but he always is checking in with us and letting us know what's going on. To our entire iMusicAcademy family, you guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting everything that we're doing. I have been doing a lot more on YouTube for our general public lately. And if you want to become a member, I promise you, we will do things exactly like this every week. You never have to feel like you missed out, you have to get caught up or whatever. We keep repeating these things. Very important. We keep it fun and we go over these concepts and we take it one step at a time. You're welcome, Hugh. Hope you guys have a great day. If you want to become a member, I have a guarantee that you will be happy. And if you're not, I'll make sure that you are. Okay, so all it says here is there's a link and you just sign up and you go for it. And once you do become a member, like all of these awesome people here and the people who will be watching the stream, is that you invest 1 lesson a month with me, and then it comes out to be less than $15 a week. And you get not only the 2 lives, you get everything, I mean everything. which is so much fun. And there's an online platform for you to get the courses. There's a Google Drive that has all the courses in it. But the most important thing with this community and practicing and focusing in together, I think you'll get a lot done. All right, so you just click that link, sign up, and then I'll connect with you. Other than that, I hope you have fun. I hope you pick one of these ideas. You have this 20 tips, and I'm talking about our members, right? we go for an hour, and today was kind of an open stream for anybody who wants to check out kind of the things we do. But ultimately, it comes down to focusing in on one or two of these ideas and say, I'm going to get a lot done in the 10 minutes that I have, and practice one thing. And one thing we do at iMusicAcademy that I always need to say is that if you had 10 minutes to practice, get you a little timer. Don't use the one you can use the one on your phone, but the more we get away from our phones, probably the better it is for our practicing. But this little kitchen timer looking thing, and I say, all right, I'm going to practice one idea for this amount of time. Maybe it's this. So I'm just practicing different bass lines over one lick. You do that kind of practice, you will get somewhere. And make a note of, I practiced this today. All right, you have 30 seconds to say your goodbyes for today. I will see all of our members on Monday ready to go. And thank you so much for hanging out at iMusicAcademy and supporting the channel. Have a great one.